is that Inky and them used to alter the genetics of the modern day human, right? The sign, that's where your Asian looking families come from. And then you have your Twa, where your um, African looking features primarily come from. Then you have the ones like the Zulu was the first family of Inky, right? But then he had another wife in another part, and they gave birth to a different tribe called the Dinka, right? And when you look at the difference, and you see that the Dinka is way much bigger than the Zulu, and that's because his wife was taller. That wife was taller, so her children came out bigger, but they still have the general physical physique of the Zulu, which was the Inky trait. Then you had a Watusi, tall, lanky, minute bowl looking people, right? Them was because a different consort. She came from an extremely skinny clan, right? So they carried that matrilineal trait, but that height comes from Inky, right? So I can go keep doing that all day. So
Inky wasn't tall as Inlet because Inky was mixed with Dragonian, so he wasn't even 7 foot like the regular Anunnaki. He was
no,
like
he was like 6'10".
Doc said he was actually 6 foot in the Holy Tablets. That Inky was 6 foot.
But you got to remember, he had more than one avatar.
That's what I was. That's what I was thinking too. That he had more than one avatar. That's what I was
Yeah,
telling.
he liked to use the giraffe for his totem,
Mm-hmm.
right? And his motto is standing tall and proud, drinking alcohol and talking out loud, looking over the crowd,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that was his thing. But remember, a 6 foot tall guy is
To
tall
to
to
to a
the
twi
four
to the twi
4'11" person.
to the twi niggas. Yeah, right.
Yeah, they 4'3", 4'4",
Right.
right? So they gonna be little to a 6 footer.
Right. They're a giant. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah. That's a giant on Earth in those days because the Twi man ain't he don't get that tall. So the Watusis when they came, the Watusis was 6'5", 6 foot, 7 foot tall. They in the Anunnakis, they some of them got up to 15 foot tall. It depends on what planet they was from.
Right.
The Etruscans from 10
So
feet tall. Yeah.
they didn't like the humans because we used to hive up. We call it tribe up now, but they used to call it hive up, like bees.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to say we rally around Big Mama like ants and termites,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they hated that, especially Enlil,
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't like the matriarchal societies are free will. All patriarchal societies are restricted will.
Mm-hmm.
If the patriarchy operate under the matriarchy, the patriarchs become what they call the perfected father figure,
Mm-hmm.
Usirian, the great father,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you get to that level, you understand the importance of the restoration of the matriarchy because you understand that the perfect balance of the earth is for the man to do man stuff and the woman to do woman stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you encourage the women to engage in stuff like the goddess glow up that brings that femininity, or as ideas say, make it juicy.
Yeah.
Don't no man want to come hugging up on no miserable ass woman, bitching all day. He don't even want to hear that. He want his peace.
Right.
But if she not properly tended to, she can't give him peace because she's in turmoil.
Right.
You got to calm her rage, Sekhmet, and bring out her love, Oshun.
Right.
Right? This was the whole metamorphosis of the self. Every woman should be wanting to get out of that war energy of Sekhmet and embrace their love energy of Oshun, of Venus, of Virgo, right?
Right.
Because that femininity empowers them to make men automatically perform the functions of a man, protect, defend, right? Provide. That becomes the man can't help himself. He just feels it in his soul that that's something he has to do,
Right.
right? So when the women are in that energy, but when the women is in the warring energy, sometimes we have civil war and civil conflict in the home. Or we have a hostage crisis described as disguised as a love affair in a domestic violence situation. Trauma bond,
Go ahead.
right? This is carries over from slavery. That's why everybody think they own somebody. You don't own nobody. You join up and make a team with somebody. People don't understand that. This is a difference when a man want a wife, he want a teammate. Yeah. If the man do his part, the wife feel the same way about him. Don't disturb his peace, right? Because he protects my palace. If you disturb his peace, he's gonna go in protection mode, and you're gonna get whatever is required when you disturb the peace.
Right.
She gonna tell him before they invite it. Don't come over here with the BS, because we don't do BS. And it's always the people on BS that think you on BS because you won't tolerate their BS. Now that's some BS right there.
Go ahead.
No BS.
Hey, Rod, why do you think that they target our women to give them pay them get them higher paying jobs than the man? These black men.
It's the emasculation of the masculine.
Go ahead.
They give the woman the breadwinner role of the man to emasculate the man and emasculinize the woman. Not saying that there's anything wrong with a working woman, because it ain't. And if she can do the job, she can get paid what a man can, right? But under the patriarchal system, your economic value, your ability to bring in currency determines your rank in the family. So then the woman that make the most money, she now superior to her partner. You can't be a partner with an inferior and a superior. That's why when you're in a relationship, you're either gonna be 100% in it or 100% out of it. Ain't no middle ground. All that old 50-50 relationship stuff people be talking about, it don't work like that. Both of y'all all in, or y'all need to get all out. If you with somebody and you ain't all in, if she tell you, baby, I killed him, and you don't say what you want me to do with the body, you ain't ready. You're not ready. If you come in there and say, baby, I had to do him, she gonna say, did you get rid of the body?
Hey,
Right?
the
Because it's
mob be like that.
team.
The mob
It,
wives be like that.
yeah, it's team. That's why they gave us Mario Puzo's books and turned them into movies, so we can see the functioning of a functional family in hostile conditions in a war zone. You still got to keep the family functional in the war zone. So the way that the Godfather played out, it showed you 2 generations, 3 generations of men struggling to be fathers in a war zone. But we only look at it from the La Cosa Nostra big boss type imagery. We're not looking at why are they doing this. The whole principle of the movie was to take care of the family. Family first. Family over feelings. Right? When you start putting your feelings out there, they gonna get stepped on, and you can't be offended because you put them out there. Everybody in the family, everybody in the society is not always supposed to agree on everything. That's why you have different family members, have different professions, different fields of expertise. Bring them together and utilize your expertise for the benefit of the family. right? And if it benefits the family, it's going to benefit the community because harmonious families live in harmony together. But when families is broken and in chaos, they bring chaos to the whole community.
So that's another thing too, Rod. They created prisons, and I was asking this is another thing dealing with the war on the land between the vampires and the thing. I was asking Dr. Muhammad Umar, why don't they export us back to our country if we from Africa? They keep on they still keep on this.
Dr.
I'm
Umar
black.
don't want to go back to Africa, bro. Don't Dr. Umar talk that African talk all day long, but you can't melt that nigga down and pull that nigga on exporting him to Africa for good. He don't want to go. He already said out his own mouth.
So why he said it? Well, we ain't got to talk about him. I'm just saying though, the prison systems, because we had did a tape called
They
"How
can't
Council."
deport you to somewhere you ain't from.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
can only deport you to where you from or where your allegiance is to. The reason why you can't get reparations because you have no political lobby nowhere in the world.
And they stopped Malcolm X from trying to set that up.
Look, no, no people in the history of reparations being given has ever asked for reparations without a political representing body somewhere in the world. As part of the treaty agreement with Japan, America gave the Japanese POWs who had never been to half of them had never been to Japan a day in their life. A lot of them was born right over there in the San Francisco Bay for railroad work, but they was in internment camps because America's xenophobia had them believing that since the so-called Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, that all Japanese is a threat, which nothing can be further from the truth. Then on top of that, they paid out with that reparations people that was mistaken as being Japanese, as some of them were Koreans, Vietnamese, Chinese, right? And they all received because of the settlement with Japan to pay reparations to the interns in the Japanese prison camps. Even though they wasn't Japanese, they were still in the prison camps. The so-called Jews, when they got Israel set up after World War II, that was based off the Balfour Declaration in World War One. They had a bankers lobby that was willing to pay for them to get a homeland. And if anybody from Earth don't got a homeland, they not from here. And that's why they guy and Lil had to go steal somebody else's land. A usurper, a Jacobin, an underminer, a supplanter. And the Jacobins became known historically as Jews. But the Jews is the derivative from the jewelry that they gave their adherents close to them so that they can be your masquerade royal family. And that brooch is going to tell you, the necklace, the ring, the earrings is going to tell you who their allegiance is to because they're going to have their face right there on their body.
You just said a lot right there, and they connected with them guys Yaku, because Yaku said, "I, my God, his God was Baal. Baal is Enlil's son. So Yaku is connected with Enlil. It goes down the same type of side of the family."
And, and Yakub is one of Enlil boys
Go ahead.
indirectly because that's where the whole concept of creating an inferior race came from. Inferiority came, the doctrine of inferiority, superiority among groups similarly situated is a control me- mechanism. That's the doctrine of Enlil. right? So if his doctrine is to make somebody better than somebody else, why we keep falling for this racism bullshit?
Right.
Now, whether you pale face or whether you dark face, we both use science erroneously to try to prove a race theory. Now, notice the word is a theory. Race is a theory. That means it's not facts. It hasn't been proven. Then they try to classify human in these different haplogroups. The only haplogroup that matter is the lac Z gene. And the lac Z gene is the mitochondrial heirs to the earth. So that's the only haplogroup that actually matter. Your ABO grouping don't matter as much as that lac Z gene haplogroup. Those are the daughters of Isis, the mothers of the earth. And they got different skin complexions and different hair textures from all over the world. They just so happen to concentrate in America because this is the battleground. So they all over here. Some of them doing interviews telling you that they part of the ancient royal bloodline, but we don't know how because they don't look the part. That's because nobody looks the part to nobody. Because everybody is pushing a superiority complex or an inferiority complex. And as long as you stuck between them two paradigms, you can't ascend because your vibration won't rise above that.
It's the
If
yin
you
and
have a
yang. Yep.
Yeah, if you got a prejudice to say, "Oh, I don't like him because he wear plaid shirts," I don't like nobody wear plaid shirts. You just trapped yourself in the 3D
You deep, bro. Go ahead.
because of the emotional response required to dislike, hate, or disdain something is the frequency of three-dimensional fixed position reality. That's your lower nature. Your lower nature is tied closer to the animal kingdom than your higher nature, which is tied closer to the kingdom of heaven, as they call it. But we just call it fifth dimensional spirit matrix. O blood is omega blood, which is the old blood, which is the first blood. The other ones are derivatives of the O.
That
We
makes sense.
breaking it in real time.
Because O can give, I think, blood to most of like the like it's certain O is like a universal type
Yeah.
blood.
So O positive can give blood to A positive, B positive. O negative can give it to all blood types.
That's right. That's right.
And of course, they can give it to their own. O positive can get an O positive, A positive, B positive. But the positive is the rhesus factor, which is the aging gene that was put into the human. If you go to
In live.
go to Google right quick.
I'm going right now.
Matter of fact, we're gonna pull up one of her lectures. Go to YouTube, pull YouTube up on there. And I'm gonna show you who to look for to understand the aging process. So I'm gonna tell you her name, and then we're gonna go back to her on YouTube and pull up one of her short videos talking about aging. But her name's Cynthia Kenyon. Cynthia Kenyon is a gerontologist out of UCLA Berkeley, and she was studying the aging process on these worms, these little microscopic worms that got a 30-day lifespan. And they found a particular hormone that's also present in pretty much all other animals. There's if you put this blocker in that they put in the worm, it blocks the hole for the hormone to go into the cell to tell it to age.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to get it put up. Hey, what you say her name was?
Cynthia, Cyenthia. Her last name is Kenyon, Kenyon. while you doing that, we talking about um, Trump talking about getting rid of the Department of Education, but it don't mean getting rid of funding for education. Now, I got to remember when he talk about getting rid of these departments, he's shutting down the Chevron deference of people that's been controlling us using these departments and institutions um, as they dirty hand to control us. We gonna be responsible probably about 2026, 2027 of reorganizing how we educate our children. And when we get done going over the agent thing with Cynthia Kenyon, I'm gonna tell y'all who to look up to see the fraud in the No Child Left Behind in the educational department. All that stuff was a money making scheme using the education as the carrot on the stick.
Address and reload page. No, I can't reload no page to cut it off. Say her last name again. I got to do it like this so it won't cut us off. Because they upgrading some on streaming yard and it's blocking me. I got to do it this way. So you said Cynthia spell her last name?
Kenyon, Kenyon.
K-E-N.
Look, we knew before we took this task in this physical form that this job was going to be hard because we understand the rules of Earth. The rules of Earth is the laws of nature. Earth is governed by natural law. And somebody had to be strong enough to take the bottom, suffering, oppressed position